Hi lovelies, I'm Natalia, aka NythaliaReads, and today we are going to be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I've been wanting to start my channel for a while now, and I figured now was the perfect time to do it, and hey, why not start off with introductions by doing the Booktube Newbie Tag? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. First question is, why did I start this channel? And I honestly started this channel for two main reasons. One is because I love reading. I just really love talking about books. I love being able to dive into a book and talk about the meaning of it and the plot and the characters and how much I either loved a character or hated a character. And so I just really enjoy talking about books. And then of course I wanted to also start this channel to step out of my comfort zone a little bit. I wanted to do something that was outside of my normal, and talking in front of a camera is definitely outside of my normal, and so I combined something that I'm not entirely comfortable with something that I really love doing, and decided that this was the perfect time to go ahead and start my channel. Next question is, what unique things will I bring to Booktube? And honestly, I think the most unique thing that I will bring besides myself is a new perspective. I love to read very diversely. I love those indie authors, those smaller books that aren't really getting a lot of hype, and I think that'll be something that's very different for Booktube because you're not going to really see me talking about really popular books that much. Now, I promise I will definitely still read and talk about popular books, but I just want to especially focus on smaller books that just aren't getting a lot of hype and, indie authors that just don't have a lot of reviews. Third question is, what am I most excited about? And honestly, I'm really excited to build my own community of people who enjoy the same things I do. This channel isn't only going to just be books, it's also going to be gaming and a couple of lifestyle videos, and I really just am excited to build a community of my people who enjoy the same things that I do. I'm also really excited to see my growth as a creator. I'm not used to talking in front of a camera, and so I'm really excited to see how I grow a year from now or 2 years from now, just seeing how comfortable I've gotten in front of the camera, how big our community has gotten, and just how much all of us have grown together. Next question is, what challenges do I think I will face? And honestly, I think the biggest challenge is balancing this with my full-time job. I am a full-time corporate girly, and of course that means that my job can keep me very busy and it just keeps things very hectic sometimes. And so I think being able to balance my full-time job with creating is also going to be just a very big thing for me to have to overcome. On top of that, also talking in front of a camera, as I keep mentioning, I'm just not used to talking in front of a camera, and so I think being able to learn how to be comfortable in front of a camera and how to talk to a camera is going to be a challenge that I have to overcome. And then third, honestly the biggest reason, aside from my full-time job, is definitely going to be my mental health. I do want to be very transparent and candid about it. I do have anxiety and depression. I also have OCD, bipolar disorder, and ADHD. Now, of course, that sounds like a lie. I promise y'all I have it managed. It's just sometimes I have good days, some days are bad days, and so that's normal with any mental health condition, and I just want to be very transparent up front because that can interfere sometimes with me recording as well as some other things in my life. And so if you maybe see me have an off week, if I'm just not recording one week, if I'm not posting, it's probably just because I'm having a rough week, or maybe I just need to take a break from social media. So I definitely think that'll be the biggest challenge that I have to overcome. But I am excited to have to overcome that challenge because it's something that I've seen myself grow in a lot the past year, and so I definitely think I'm going to keep putting in improvements in my life and I'm going to keep growing, and so I'm just really excited to take on that challenge and be able to overcome it, not only with myself but just with you all as well. Next question is, why do I love reading? And honestly, I love reading for the escapism of it. I love that whole cliche of being able to live 1,000 lives just through reading, because it's very true. I love that you can pick up a book and transport yourself to a whole other world. You can learn new magic systems and find characters that you fall in love with or characters that you hate, and you're doing all of this just from sitting in your room, in your car, while taking a bath, who knows, but you don't really have to go anywhere to just explore these new worlds and explore these new characters. I also love that you can learn a lot about yourself from reading. You can really learn about the things that you love and that you hate, maybe the things that you just don't tolerate in your real life. You can really find things that you relate to, and so I really love that you can find all of those things about yourself just from reading a book, and also that you can find characters that you relate to. You can find different similarities and stuff like that and be like, oh, wait a minute, that's actually probably what that is. I know for me, one of my biggest things was Percy Jackson. I was able to figure out that I had ADHD just from being able to read about Percy Jackson and being like, oh, wait a minute, these are some of the same things I also struggle with, and maybe I'm not stupid, or maybe I'm not lazy, maybe it's actually something else that's making me different and I just haven't put a name to it. And so being able to find those characters that you really connect to and that you can really identify with, I feel like that's a really big thing, and that it's really important to have that with reading. Next question is, where do I read? And honestly, y'all, I read wherever I can. If I'm at home, I'm reading in bed, or I'm reading with an audiobook doing my chores. If I'm at work, I have another audiobook and I'm listening to that while working on my projects. If I'm in the car, I have my Kindle or I'm having my audiobook, just depending on what I'm doing. If I'm in the emergency room, I will honestly have my Kindle with me or an actual book, and I will be reading. Honestly, wherever I have the chance to read, I'm going to be reading just because I love it so much. I love being able to take a moment and just have some peace and quiet within myself just from reading, and being able to separate myself from the busy world that we have. And so again, wherever I'm at, I'm going to have some kind of way to read, whether it's an audiobook, a Kindle, or it's my actual physical version of a book. Next question is, when did I start reading? And I started reading very seriously around the age of, I want to say 11. Now, I did start reading around 6 or 7, but I want to say 11 because that was really when I fell in love with reading, because I started reading Percy Jackson. I fell in love with the whole storyline and being able to find something that was different about yourself, because all of these demigods had ADHD and dyslexia, and instead of that being something that was a bad thing, it ended up being a superpower for them, because it was the reason that they were so good at reading Greek, and it was the reason that they were so good at battling, and it just made their lives so much better. They just didn't know it at first. And so I really identified with having a character who felt very different growing up, and then one day they figured out, oh, this is actually why I feel different, and this is actually a superpower of mine. It isn't something I should feel ashamed of. It isn't something I should be embarrassed about. It isn't something I should shame myself for, or make myself feel bad about. It's actually something that's really important for me, and that really makes me different and very unique, and it actually helps me make improvements in my life. And so I really just loved at the age of 11 that I was able to find that. Next question is, what books got me into reading? And I know that I mentioned Percy Jackson already, but I also got into reading with Inkheart and Secret Garden. Those are the first books that I remember my mom handing to me and just, saying, here, get into reading, see if you enjoy it, just keep yourself busy with something that'll help you improve. And when I started reading Inkheart, I really just fell in love with how the author was able to build up this new world, and I was able to imagine all of these characters in my head. And so with that book and with Secret Garden and, diving into these new worlds, I really just fell in love with what reading can do for a person. And then the last question is, what kinds of books do I like to read? And honestly, I'm definitely a fantasy girly at heart. I also really love queer romance stories. I find that those are the kinds of stories that I either relate to a lot, or I can definitely find different characters that I really love or that I really hate, these characters that really make me feel different emotions. I also really love learning about magic systems and stuff, and so I definitely get attached to fantasy books a lot. But I am trying to step out of my comfort zone a little bit more with my genres that I'm reading, and I'm trying to expand my library a lot more this year. And so you're also going to see me talk a lot about romance books and contemporary historical fiction. I'm not diving into nonfiction, y'all. I will be honest with y'all. I will just stick to fiction, but I'm going to be stepping into different genres under fiction because I do want to expand my library a little bit more. Alright lovelies, that's all I had for today. I know it was a pretty short video, but I just wanted to start off with some introductions so that you all can get to know me better. Now, I do also want to get to know y'all better, so if you made it this far, go ahead and comment down below what your favorite book is, and then also what you're excited to see from this channel. I'm really excited to go ahead and start off this journey with you all and being able to grow our community. And yeah, that's all I had for today, so I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!